So hello, I'm Charlotte. I'm from the UK in a place called Cambridgeshire, in a little town called St Neots. So I'm 33. I love yoga, like you. So I'm a trained yoga teacher. And yeah, that's one of my passions. Also love writing. I'm a stepmom as well, so that's how we've connected. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm a stepmom of 4 children, and there's 2 different exes and really, really different situations and different sort of parenting styles from both the mums, which is the reason we're kind of speaking today. So the eldest 2 are 16 and 11, and the youngest 2 are 4 and 6. So there's big gap between all the kids, and it's
Very much.
so different. Actually, it's teenager one is the hardest. And people do say that actually, whether they're your own kids or someone else's kids, like kids tend to sometimes get harder as they get older. Those teen years are like notoriously difficult.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know what else do you want to know about me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess coming back to like how we first
Yeah.
connected was we were talking about kind of like how there isn't enough almost like resources or like those books that guide you on a path of being like how are you supposed to kind of be a parent in this role, but then it's like
Mm,
you didn't really give birth to them and you weren't part
yeah.
of that process, but you are in their life and you are an adult. So kind
Yeah.
of defining what that means to us, but then like you said, like having that other party to also take into consideration and like what are their
Mm.
values and their needs. So what is something that you first kind of found the hardest and what's the way you navigated through that? Just I know there's probably a
Um,
ton, but just
oh my
starting with
gosh.
like one that really sticks out that maybe could be really
I
useful as well for other
think,
stepmoms.
yeah, I think at first, and obviously it would have been hard for the kids as well, was the fact that we're on an every other weekend and every Wednesday schedule. So you're like chopping and changing all the time. And it took me a long time to like get into the routine of like, we'd have the kids this weekend, we wouldn't have the kids this weekend. I used to get quite a lot of like anxiety at first because you'd be all set in your routine and then you just have loads of kids in the house who were like
Yes.
energetic. You don't know how they're going to turn up. Just as adults, like we have good days and bad days. The kids sometimes might turn up, they're a little bit quiet or tired, just what's been going on at school or home, and you take that personally. So that is a yeah, taking things personally as well, like or not taking things personally, realizing actually it's not all about you, about something you're doing wrong, or just because you're in
Mm-hmm.
your life. It could be just like you say, you've had a bad day at school, the teacher might have told you off, or had a row with the other mum, or whatever it may be, and then you think, oh, it's my fault. It's obviously my fault. They don't want me here. There's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
It's kind of spiral. So yeah, those are things I would say was hard at first. Kind of just just knowing how to be, because like you say, if you haven't birthed to a child, given birth to a child, and it depends what age you've met them at. Obviously, meeting them at a younger age is much easier than having a sort of 14, 15, 16-year-old step son or daughter. You're kind of joining them at sort of a period in their life when they've bonded obviously so much with their mum and dad, and you're just like this new person in your life. So that can be difficult as well if you've joined a family when there's older kids. Yeah. But yeah, like going back to what you said, yeah, there's no resources. There is resources out there for stepmoms, but there's not always a resource that resonates with every single person and
Yeah, good way of
kind of
putting it.
style of learning. Like I'm definitely more of a spiritual person and I'm into
Mm-hmm.
self-development anyway. So kind of how I like to learn and what I like to learn would not necessarily be the same as someone else. And my journey as a stepmom and the lessons I'm going through are not necessarily what someone else is teaching me. Like in the early days, yeah, my husband and I did go and visit a therapist to try and kind of work through things that were coming up in a productive way, and she definitely had not been a stepmom, and the advice she gave I just
Yeah.
couldn't believe she was even giving to people.
Oh,
It was so lacking empathy and lacking understanding actually of what it actually takes and what people go through. And yeah, so it is interesting. Yeah.
yeah, because you were probably like me, like you were just you and living your life. And then all of a sudden it's like, now I got to think of so many different beings. Yeah.
Totally.
And so much
And
different like responsibility to take on. So how did you meet your partner?
we actually we actually met on a dating app, not
That's
like Tinder,
cool.
not Tinder,
Yeah.
but just this other one. And it's so weird. Like as soon as when I saw him, I thought I recognised him. Obviously didn't. And it was one of those things like we kind of met up straight away. As soon as we met each other, we knew that it was something special. I remember getting out
Aw.
of my car and getting out of my car and something inside me went, oh, that's gonna be my husband. So it was kind of yeah. And then we were married. We got engaged after 5 months. So really,
Mm-hmm.
so there was this. They do say in all the step parenting books like you should take it really slow. Like make sure you
Yeah, I know.
stay
I
for a long
moved in
time.
after like 3 weeks. So
Oh really? Oh my gosh!
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, we
And do
like
you know what? It's really
got together,
interesting
moved in.
because lots of stepmoms you speak to actually do completely opposite of what it says that you should do, and actually wait
Yes.
your time, wait till you move in together, wait till you get married, wait till you have children, or whatever. Most stepmoms, they don't do that because when you a stepmom and the guy's got kids, you're usually that little bit older, so you don't really want to kind of
Yes.
like hang around too long. You think life is too short, you know? Yeah,
Yes. And when you
gotta
just know,
go
you
for it.
know, like you've already been through like the mud and some of the shit, and you're just like, hey, this feels really good. I think this is right. Let's just
Exactly. There's
do it.
no point wasting time. So yeah, met on a dating website, moved in after 5 months, and that's when we got engaged. And then we got married the year later, and then
Mm-hmm.
that was only 8 months ago. So we've been together only 2 years. Feels like a
Mm-hmm.
long time though, lifetime. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so did you like meet the kids right away, or was it like
Mm,
a couple weeks, or
it was
on
in
like
the
the first date?
eight.
Was he like, let me just tell you how many I have and see what you think?
I know it's crazy, isn't it?
There's
Sometimes
no right or wrong to that
no,
either. It
definitely
just
not.
is.
No, I think it was in April. So after about 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
I met the elder two before I met the younger two.
Mm-hmm.
So I met them, the eldest two first, and then the youngest two afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. See, with my partner, I knew him like a little bit before we actually got together, and it happened to be that I was
Okay.
doing a yoga and art program with one of my
Oh
friends, and he
wow.
put his
Yeah.
kids in it. So I got to like meet them for like a week before me and him were like anything. So
Oh
it was so
wow.
interesting to be like, oh, so these are your two. And so it was like, I kind of
That's
just knew right
that was
away
meant to
kind of thing.
be. So how many
Yeah, thank you.
children have you got?
Two,
Two.
15 and 11.
Oh, okay. So really similar to eldest two, 16 and 11. Yeah. And they like yoga then.
Yes, they have done it. Like now they're kind of like into their own things more,
Yeah.
especially like, the 15-year-old like just does her own thing. And
Yeah,
it's different because
totally.
their age gap too. It's like
Hmm.
3, 4 years ago, they were almost doing everything together. Now they're doing like
Yeah.
everything separate, and then
Mhm.
later in life they'll come back and be close together again. So that's different too.
Yeah.
Like just those responsibilities like hockey and driving them here and doing this and that, and just trying to
Yeah.
balance it all while still like being an individual and then being a partner. And it's a lot of navigating.
Oh gosh, totally. And also like as well, like with the teen step kids, it's like not taking it personally again, like thinking actually, if I look back to when I was 16, you are gonna be out with your friends and meeting guys and not really wanting to hang around with your parents. And it actually isn't personal. It's
Yeah.
because like you're the evil stepmother or something like that. It's just that's part of being that age, yeah.
And this may be like really personal ask, and it's okay if you don't want to
Yeah.
answer that. But with like the moms, do you get along, or is it just very like cordial, just like hi, meet at this time, Kay, this like keep it
Yeah.
simple? What's that like?
So with the mother of the eldest two, um, who my husband was married to, yeah, she's really lovely. We get along. There's no problems there whatsoever. It's all okay. And it's the mother of the youngest two is the one that's the problem. And this is what we connected over was parental alienation, which is something that probably is happening like so much, but people
Mm-hmm.
aren't actually aware of it. And like when you actually say those words, people are like, what the hell is that? Um,
Mm-hmm.
So that's a difficult situation. I've never met her. I have offered to meet her. She didn't reply to the text message. So I personally, like, I went into the new year and I was like to my husband, oh, I want to just text her and just maybe try and clear the air a little bit. And he was like, no, there's absolutely no point. So that's a really difficult situation. And it do cause me a lot of stress and anxiety to begin with. And then I've just kind of stepped back from it, like disengaged from it. It's not about me. Anyone that's in this position, she wouldn't like, and it's not just aimed at me, it's aimed at my husband, his family as well, the eldest 2 kids. So it isn't me, it's her, but it's what she's going through. It's why there's a problem. And also it's difficult, and I try and look at it, put myself in her shoes. It can't be nice being a single mum with 2 young kids. Your ex, who my husband, he didn't marry her, has moved on and married someone else quite quickly. Your kids actually do like her and get along with her.
Yes.
It's got to be difficult. I personally would probably find that really challenging as well. So yeah.
Yeah, see, that's good you have that spiritual aspect of you.
Yeah. But if I didn't have that aspect, I probably would be one of these, like, oh, it's all her fault, I wish she'd go away, I hate her, or saying all these horrible things. But I think when you have been through that spiritual journey, you realise that everyone in life is meant to teach you something, and it's either a lesson or a blessing, and you can learn from even like those difficult situations. It will help you grow as a person. And I've read this book, and it's like basically said, like, your enemies on earth are your best friends in heaven, because sometimes, like, whether this is true or not, I don't know, sometimes like souls kind of sacrifice themselves to others so those people can learn like really valuable life lessons to help their spirit evolve or soul evolve. So you never know. It's a bit far out, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally can understand that. And we are like kind of the same in that situation. Like,
Yeah.
the mom and her partner do their thing, we do our thing.
Yeah.
Just like meet you at 3 o'clock here. It's been a very like long, drawn out court process as well.
Yeah.
And same, like trying to find that spiritual aspect of like, what is my role in this? And like just being everything I can. It is like, let's just let life keep moving forward. And yeah, because I was like that at the beginning too. I'm like, oh, we're like doing this birthday party, let's invite them, let's do this and that. And then it just was never like well received.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? No, we've definitely not gone down that road with either of the exes. I just don't think that is right for us. And I've seen it as well, like on like stepmom advice blogs or books and things like that, where you should kind of try and get along with the ex for the sake of the kids, and kind of go to football, hockey or whatever together and try and but I actually don't think that works for most step families. I actually think it's kind of awkward for like everyone involved. I think, yeah, you wouldn't do that with exes that you didn't have kids with. So it's quite hard to try. And I know some people are actually good friends with their husband or partner's ex, but I don't think that is actually the case in most step families. From the ones that I talk to, I think maybe if you spoke to 1,000 people, maybe 1 or 2, they might be like, yeah, I could go for coffee with my husband's ex. But I don't think in most cases that does work. But maybe that's just my experience of it.
Yeah, no, I totally feel the same way. Like I was like at the bank not too long ago, and the girl that was helping me like in behind the counter, it was like something was messing up, and we were just like chatting away while the computer's loading, and she was like, yeah, I went to my kids thing, and me and their dad, like he's my ex-husband, but we're still good friends. Like I brought him a coffee, and like this concert he's gonna bring one, and I'm like, what? I feel like they must have just recently split or something. So right now it's gonna be okay, but they haven't gone through life enough yet to like get obstacles. And her tune will probably be very different.
Totally. And this is the thing, like if I wish, not obviously the second ex, but first ex, if I ever see her, we're always really nice to her. We generally, like when my husband and I got married, she sent me a text message saying, I hope this isn't weird, but like good luck today, and I hope you have a lovely day and all that. So that's the kind of thing it is. But we're both at that point where it's like you wouldn't just get too involved. Don't need to, I don't think. Half the cost in that way. Never say never with anything, of course, but I just don't think the moment. Yeah.
So when did you first start developing like your spiritual practice? Like what led you to that?
So it was my ex-boyfriend, long time ago, probably about 21, 22, a guy called Ryan. And it was his flatmate who was a girl called Claire, still remember. And I used to be real like stress head, like I was just a million miles an hour. I was up, I was down, I was like suffering from depression, I was all over the place. And she was like, oh, I'm going to take you to a yoga class. And she took me to a yoga class. I remember going in there with a headache and then coming out and not having a headache and just really liking it. But I'd say it took me a good couple of years to get into it. Like I wasn't like how I am now, where I was like, could never not have yoga in my life. If I haven't done it for like a couple of days, I might have this like urge to go and do it. So yeah, it was really then like mid-20s, and I tried a couple of different yoga styles, and then I got into Kundalini yoga, and I loved that. Yeah, I loved that. I still love Kundalini yoga. My husband actually likes it. That's the yoga he prefers the most. So probably after doing that for about 2 years, I did my Kundalini yoga teacher training, and I didn't ever start teaching that actually. It was when I broke up with another ex-boyfriend. So I've got loads of ex-boyfriends, but I broke up with another ex-boyfriend, and I was working for a company in London, and I had a good relationship with my boss, and I said to her, I really want to take a month off to go to India. And she was like, yeah, you should do it. And they just I took, basically they still paid me. I went over Christmas, so I took my week off for Christmas, and they still paid me for the other 3 weeks. I went and I did my like vinyasa training in Goa. And that's when I started teaching after that. So that's the thing, everything does happen for a reason. If I haven't had such a horrific breakup, my work wouldn't have felt so sorry for me, giving me the time of let me go and just do yoga for a month. It was amazing. So that was
you
when
still teach.
I was teaching until when I was living in London, I was teaching full time, and then when I moved back to Essex, which is where I was originally from, I was teaching like part time, and then I moved over to this way, and I did start teaching a little bit, and then with the wedding and just so much other stuff was going on, I was kind of struggling with everything at home at that point, and I was drained, and I kind of had to just kind of take a step back and work on me. And also I've been writing a book, which I have not really got anywhere with. So I kind of really wanted to, I kind of looked at myself and I was like, what is my priority? Is it teaching yoga and being a yoga teacher, or is it that I want to be a writer? And it's definitely the writing. So I've obviously always got my yoga. I'll teach my husband, and I've obviously got my qualifications, and there's never say never. I might take up your class. I still do like a monthly meditation and gong workshop, which I do. But I just didn't, I guess, need the there was something in life I had to give, if that made sense. So that was last year, and I haven't gone back into it. I've just been concentrating on my writing.
Yeah, I've known with me as well, like when you join this relationship and there's so many things to juggle, like eventually you do need to be like, what do I really want to do? I need to simplify, like finding less is more, but then also like not giving up too much, because you're like, I don't want to lose myself and I don't want to be resentful. So it's like taking that time to find like your own definition of what it is that you need. Like that's so important.
That's so true. And I remember when I first went into this situation, I was a bit naive, and I thought, oh, kids every other weekend, that's perfect. I'll just spend the whole weekend writing. I'll get my book done, and it will be a blessing, because I'll just have more time to write. But obviously that couldn't be further from the truth. There's no way when we have the kids a weekend that I'm like sat down writing. You don't have the time, especially when there's younger kids, you're making dinner, you're doing this and that. In a good way, it takes up your time, but so it's like prioritizing family, work, focusing on my health, etc. as well. It can be hard to juggle, definitely.
And what did working like on yourself look like when you took that step back to take that time? Was like
Yeah.
Like you said, just doing less, you had more time just to be with yourself, or like were you going to therapy? Like I go to therapy. I love my therapist.
Yeah.
Like combining that like spiritual with like the other methods. Like what
Yeah.
did that look like for you?
That's really interesting. So in the morning, I like wake up and meditate. So I do that every morning, and then I kind of like do, I guess, a little bit of journaling, like writing what I'm grateful for, like writing things that I'm grateful for as if I've already got them. So kind of like a bit of like
Oh, I
manifestation.
love that.
Yeah, that's what I've kind of just. I think it seems really hard at first to do it, and then when you get into it, you're like, I've got to do this. It just feels right. I like spending time in nature, so like getting out in nature, putting my feet on the ground, going walking. That's really, really important to me. Like, yeah, just, I guess the more I've simplified like what I eat, what I do, what I put into my mind, the happier I am. So it's kind of like taking less on, but taking more quality things on, if that makes sense. So actually not
I
doing
love
things for
that.
the sake of it. So it's even with food, I think, like, as I've struggled with like eating disorders in the past, even though I couldn't even imagine being like that now, it just seems like a distant memory. It's like just keeping food like simple, isn't it? Like not overcomplicating things, and kind of going back to basics with things a little bit. But yeah, I forgot what the question was now. What were we talking about? I think I've kind of like diverted off.
Yeah, no, that was perfect. It was about like what did working on yourself look like, and what does that still look like? So that was perfect
Yeah.
what you were saying.
Yeah, so that's the main things. Meditation, definitely, like the journaling, yoga, obviously, being outside in nature, writing is important to me. Like I said, we did visit a therapist, but she wasn't very helpful. So
Yes.
yeah, I guess, what else do I do? Just, I'm one of these people, like, if there's something that I want to know about, I'll go and research into
I
it,
like
and
that
understand
too.
it myself. I'm just thinking, is it really dark? Should I turn the light on quickly? Can you see me, or is it really dark?
I can see you, yeah, but it's
Okay, let's
funny,
turn the
like
light from here. I'm sitting here in darkness in this room here. I'm just like sitting here in dark.
it
The
did
sun's
get
gone
dark
really
so
dark. Yeah.
fast too.
Yeah, just, I'm one of these people, and I think I've always been like it, even as a kid. Like, I wanted to know why things worked and how they worked, and I wanted to know the truth of things. And I'm one of these people that I never take things at face value, whether it's in the news or what I'm reading, because everyone's got a different sort of like belief and view on things. So it's good to sometimes like look at a few different things about what you're looking into.
So do you plan on having any children of your own, or you go with the being a stepmom?
No, we definitely want children. We'd like to. In an ideal world, I'd love twins, a boy and a girl,
Aww.
naturally. Yeah, I just think that'd be good, because I think, of course, because there's already 4 kids, I think if one little baby come along, of course I'd be happy if it was just one little baby, of course. But I just think if there was 2, it'd be like more babies than love to share. No one's ever going to be arguing because they can't hold the baby or play with the
Yeah,
baby. Do you know what I mean? You can just be like, here, everyone, you can
I
all have
love
a
it.
baby. There's more to go around. And also,
Yes.
it's true, something I've kind of thought about as well, which I've seen a lot of stepmoms who only have one child, that child can get quite lonely sometimes, and like
I
miss
agree.
their brothers and sisters, and I think that would just break my heart. I think I'd want to have another baby really quickly, and of course there's no wrong in being like that. For me personally, I would love, twins, but we'll see. But yeah, 2
Yes.
definitely. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
no, I
think that,
definitely agree. I'm like, there used to be 2 because they need to always have that person. If something
yeah.
were like to happen to you or your husband or something, like then they always have each other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What about you? Do you?
Well, we had the conversation when we first got together. He had a vasectomy because he wasn't planning on having any more kids, and he was
That's
like, I can
exactly.
reverse it if you want to. And
That's
he's
exactly
like,
the same. I've got to
interesting.
be a little bit quiet because I'm in the next room watching the football.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'd had a vasectomy, but he did have the reversal.
Mm-hmm.
When we first met, he had the reversal, but we've been trying since May last year. So we're
Mm-hmm.
still, and they said that could be because he's had the vasectomy and then the reversal. Sometimes it can take a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of time, but also we're about to move house, so maybe it just wasn't the right time before. Maybe our baby
Yeah.
we needed to move.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I understand. So what? So yeah, he had
Yeah, so we gave it some thought for a while, and she
yeah,
had the reversal, and I'm like, I think I'm good actually with just
yeah,
being the stepmom. And we have so many friends around us that are like always having
yeah,
babies, so we always like have that. And just
yeah,
like our path, the way we see our life going is like
yeah,
helping veterans and spouses and helping so
yeah,
many people and just being on the go so much.
yeah,
So we almost want to like mother and father the people in the world instead
yeah.
of like just like the one baby. But I mean, if it happened or whatever, like then it
Then
does,
it will
because sometimes
happen.
that's not always 100%, secure doing the vasectomy. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Hmm.
it. And the thing is that everyone wants different things from life, don't they? As well, it's like
Yes.
that's totally it. And it's yeah, just got to do kind of what's right for you. There's no wrong or right in anything, is there? With everyone wants different things out of life, for sure. So,
Hmm.
and it is.
Do
I
you
think
have,
it is quite common
yes.
for the men to have had a vasectomy, and then yeah, especially when there's stepkids involved. I've seen that quite a lot actually. Yeah.
Do you have any other like just words of wisdom or tips or anything that you'd want to share with maybe other women or just other families that are navigating life?
Yeah, definitely in our situation. I think the main thing for me is that I know it sounds like counterintuitive when there's kids involved, but is to put the relationship first. And I think when you do that and you love each other and you're working as a team, everything else seems to fall into place, because I think the kids feel safe. They know they can't kind of play
Hmm.
one off against the other. They know that there's not going to be another breakup or something like that. They can see what a relationship maybe should look like if they've come from a messy divorce. So that's definitely, yeah, put your relationship first, and also self-care and putting your needs first as well. Like I made the mistake
Hmm.
in the beginning of kind of putting everyone before me, and I burnt out, I think maybe like twice in a couple of months. And I realized I needed to kind of like focus on my self-care and my like um learning and journey and self-development. So I think that's really important to like to put yourself first and realize that you don't need to put your needs like at the bottom of the pile just because you become a stepmom. That isn't part
Yeah.
of it. So I'd say yeah, that's really important. And also as well, connect with other stepmoms. That's so important, because I think it's only if you've been a stepmom you can kind of understand what we go through, because I think it's really hard to describe somebody else or to understand like why you
Hmm.
do what you do and why you met a man with children. Yeah, it takes definitely a special person to be a stepmom as well. I think that if there are um, people listening to this that are stepmoms, is to like remember like how amazing you are, and give, because I don't think people always give us credit, and we might not get credit from our husband or from our friends or family
Hmm.
or even the kids. You might feel like you're not appreciated, but so you have to remind yourself that you really are making a difference and an amazing person. And every stepmom I've met, and I know I probably say this all the time, are literally like the kindest, most open-hearted, most loving people.
Yes.
Like it really does take a special person, and yeah, it is a blessing as well. It's a blessing.
I love that. I do have one more question that I
Yeah.
just remembered that I wanted to ask you.
Mm.
So when you and your husband were kind of just figuring out like how everything is going to look, how it's going to go, did you sit down and say like, this is my expectation of you in this relationship, this is my expectation of myself? And did times come up that, say, your role maybe wasn't as recognized or as appreciative, and did you have to like communicate about that? I'm just wondering about like the navigating of
Yeah,
being seen and really welcomed in different ways.
I think we definitely went through a bad patch to come to a really good patch. I think it was only where um maybe I felt like I was taken for granted, because I went into this situation, maybe like a lot of stepmoms do, and my husband thought the same as well, thinking that you're going to like save the day, that you're going to like fix everything, put it all together and become this like angel who like heals everyone. And that's not all the case. So I think
I love that you said that. That's true.
I think I set the bar really high for myself. And I remember when we did go to the therapist, she said it's kind of like your dream has been shattered. And I'm like, yes, because I thought that I was going to be this like savior, and that's not the truth. So I think then after that, we did sit down, and I was like, I need to feel like I'm a priority. I don't want to feel like I'm second best, or that this is to my husband. So with my husband, I was like, I need to feel like a priority. I don't want to feel like I'm second best, that I need to come in after everybody else. I need to feel like this marriage is a priority, because like when you do get married, I'm not particularly religious, but they do, God and the Bible, that does say that your marriage should always come first. And I think that is number one rule in blended families, is to put the marriage first. So I did sit down and say, like, I really need to feel like a priority. And yeah, with the kids and that as well, we did sit down, and I said, I don't care if they don't like me or they don't love me, they never need to do that, but they just need to be respectful to me. In my home. That was something that we just sat down. I said, that's what I expect. Like, I do expect like kindness and respect, because that's what I'm giving to them. I would never ever treat them badly, so I wouldn't want them to treat me badly first. And also, it's teaching them that you can be horrible to people, and it's not his love and kindness. So that was something I definitely expected as well. And it was also to try and lead as normal a life as possible. Like, I know when I do sort of connect with other stepmoms, sometimes they won't want to kind of go out and do things, just them and their partner, when they have the kids, especially if they don't have the kids very often. So they might sort of say no to birthdays or weddings or this or that because they've got the kids. And I was like, I can't do that. If we, like, for example, we had a 40th birthday last night, but we've got the kids this weekend, so we've got Nan to babysit. But I think that's totally okay. So I didn't want to kind of feel, like you said before, like feeling like resentful or feeling like you're giving up. I think it's actually really healthy to try and kind of lead as normal a life as possible, because when you're married and you've got kids, you have a 40th birthday or wedding, you say yes to it. You won't say, oh God.
Yes.
So that to me was really important as well. I'd say those are the main things that me and my husband spoke about. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time and speaking with me. I just think you're so beautiful as well. I wanted to tell you that when you first got on here. I'm like, you're like so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, thank you. That's really kind. Yeah, no, I've got, actually my hair looks really red in this video. I've got red hair naturally, but I now dye it red because it's gone darker. But as a kid, I hated my red hair. Like, I literally was so insecure and would like cry to my mum, and I once dyed my hair black and was always trying to put like highlights in it, so I looked like this like stripy, like fluorescent thing. So yeah, but yeah, it's fun.
I feel like that'd be a kid's book about how like the little girl didn't like her red hair and then eventually she liked it or something.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? Like, it's
I feel like
funny,
you could write a kid's book on that.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good idea for someone, because there's a lot of redheads, and it's funny, isn't it? Because like redheads or gingers are like the one people that you can still take the piss out of, and you won't get in trouble for it. But it's like, if you ever said anything horrible about anybody else, you like would be judgmental or this or that. But no, it's fine to be horrible to redheads. Still is. But I now take the piss out of myself about it, so yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, and I will send you the link and stuff when I do upload it.
I also share it on my Instagram page as well, just because I really feel there's a need for like people to talk more openly about step parenting and being a stepmom and being part of a step family, because like regular mums, biological mums, are allowed to talk about all these things, about how challenging having babies is, or giving birth, or the school run, or this or that. But as a stepmom, if you ever said, oh my God, I'm actually struggling, this is really, really tough, you're like suddenly evil, and I think it needs to change.
Yes.
Just because you're struggling doesn't mean you're a bad stepmom. It just means you're a normal human being. Because I think there is a pressure on stepmoms to be perfect, because you don't want to have that stigma attached to you, and you can't do it the whole time.
Yeah, like the Cinderella evil stepmother.
Yeah, when I got married, my mum actually said to me, "Oh, you're going to be the evil stepmother now."
You're like, no, don't say that.
I thought, I really hope not. I try my best not to be, but you have that at the back of your head the whole time, don't you? That you don't want to be
Yes.
the evil stepmother.
Yeah, no, my mom luckily is great. She's like, Julianne, you're doing such a great job. And like my partner's mom, she's great. She's like, they're so lucky to have you. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like that really helps. When you're just like doubting everything, you're just like,
that's amazing.
like encouraging.
Mm-hmm. That's what you need. Yeah, my partner's mum is really, really wonderful. My mum and dad took a long time to come around to the idea, but
and sometimes it's just like that old school mentality too, of what that's supposed to be and what that is. So
exactly, and life's changing, isn't it? Everyone's in a different place now, and it's all part of our evolution.
Yes, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you very much. Hope you have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.